In the shadows of a quiet town, a man named Victor Harrington harbored a dangerous obsession. What drove him to commit an unspeakable act that would forever haunt his community? This chilling tale reveals the dark depths of his mind and the tragic consequences of his actions. Victor Harrington was once an ordinary man living a mundane life. However, beneath his unassuming exterior lay a troubled past filled with turmoil and rejection. It was this turbulent background that would eventually lead him down a path of destruction. Growing up in a small town, Victor's childhood was marred by feelings of inadequacy. His peers bullied him, and he struggled to find meaningful connections. This isolation fostered a growing obsession with acceptance that would soon consume him. As Victor transitioned into adulthood, his obsession evolved into a desperate need for love and validation. He fixated on a woman named Emily, a beautiful and kind-hearted soul who unknowingly became the focal point of his dark desires. Emily, however, had her own life and aspirations. She gently rejected Victor's advances, not realizing the extent of his obsession. His rejection only deepened Victor's fixation, pushing him further into a dark spiral of despair. Betrayed by his own emotions, Victor's thoughts grew increasingly erratic. He began stalking Emily, convinced that she was the only one who could fill the void in his life. His once innocent admiration took on a sinister quality. As the weeks progressed, Victor's obsession spiraled out of control. He began to believe that Emily's happiness depended on him, convincing himself that he was destined to be with her. This delusion only fueled his dangerous thoughts. On a fateful night, Victor confronted Emily outside her home. Consumed by his obsessive love, he pleaded with her to reconsider, but she remained firm in her rejection. This rejection ignited a violent rage within him. In a moment of madness, Victor's obsession turned deadly. Fueled by anger and heartache, he attacked Emily, shattering her life and leaving a community in shock. The aftermath of this tragic event would ripple through the town for years to come. As the investigation unfolded, the true nature of Victor's obsession emerged. Friends and family recounted his increasingly erratic behavior, piecing together the puzzle of a man driven to commit the unthinkable. Victor was arrested and charged with murder, but the court proceedings revealed a chilling truth. His defense hinged on the argument of insanity, claiming that his obsession had warped his perception of reality. As the prosecution presented its case, the community grappled with the horror of what had transpired. Emily was more than just a victim. She was a beloved member of the town, and her loss left a void that could never be filled. Victor's trial captivated the nation, sparking debates about mental health and the nature of obsession. Many were left asking, how could someone fall so deeply into such madness? The courtroom became a battleground for conflicting ideologies. In the end, Victor was found guilty, but not without controversy. The verdict reignited discussions about the responsibilities of individuals struggling with mental illness and the societal factors that contribute to obsession and violence. Sentenced to life imprisonment, Victor's life became a cautionary tale. His story served as a grim reminder of how unchecked obsession can lead to devastating consequences, not just for the victims, but for the perpetrator as well. Meanwhile, Emily's family and friends struggled to cope with their loss. They established a foundation in her name, dedicated to raising awareness about the dangers of obsession and promoting mental health resources in the community. Victor Harrington's tale of obsession remains a haunting chapter in the town's history. The legacy of his actions continues to impact those left behind, reminding us all of the fragility of the human mind and the darkness it can harbor. As we reflect on the tragic story of Victor Harrington and Emily, we are left to ponder, how can we better support those struggling with mental health issues? It is a question that demands our attention and action for the sake of our communities. In the wake of Victor Harrington's actions, the small town was gripped by fear and confusion. Residents whispered about Emily's untimely death, struggling to comprehend how someone they thought they knew could commit such a heinous act. As the investigation unfolded, police uncovered a disturbing pattern. Victor had been fixated on Emily for months, leaving behind a trail of unsettling messages and obsessive notes that revealed the depths of his obsession. Emily's friends recounted the chilling moments leading up to her death. They described Victor's increasingly erratic behavior, the way he would appear uninvited at gatherings, and how his presence felt suffocating. The police began to examine Victor's past, uncovering previous incidents of harassment and troubling behavior. This provided insight into the mind of a man who had spiraled into darkness, driven by his obsession. As more details emerged, it became clear that Victor's mental health had deteriorated over time. Friends and family were shocked, recalling moments when they had dismissed his behavior as mere eccentricity. In the wake of the tragedy, mental health professionals began to speak out. They emphasized the importance of recognizing warning signs and the need for community support to prevent such incidents from happening again. The trial of Victor Harrington became a media sensation, with reporters flocking to cover the shocking case. Each day, new revelations about his obsession painted a disturbing portrait of his psyche. As the prosecution laid out their case, they focused on Victor's obsession, presenting evidence that demonstrated how it had warped his understanding of reality. This was not just a crime of passion. It was a tragic tale of a mind unraveling. Victor's defense team attempted to argue that he was not in control of his actions, citing his mental health issues. They portrayed him as a troubled man, seeking help but ultimately falling prey to his obsessions. During the trial, Emily's family bravely shared their grief, recounting the impact of her loss on their lives. Their emotional testimonies resonated deeply with everyone in the courtroom. As the trial progressed, the community grappled with their feelings of anger and sadness. Many echoed the sentiment that warning signs had been missed, and questions about accountability lingered in the air. The closing arguments in the trial were gripping. The prosecution urged the jury to consider the pattern of Victor's obsession, while the defense appealed to their empathy for his mental struggles. As the jury deliberated, the tension in the community was palpable. Residents awaited the verdict, hoping for justice, but fearing the unpredictable nature of the outcome. Finally, the jury returned with a verdict. The courtroom was silent as the foreman read the decision, a moment that would forever change the lives of Emily's family and the community. With Victor found guilty, the sentencing phase began. The community expressed mixed feelings. While many felt a sense of justice, others wondered about the implications for mental health awareness. During sentencing, the judge emphasized the need for understanding mental health issues. The decision echoed through the community, sparking conversations about prevention and support for those struggling. In the aftermath of the trial, local organizations began to form support groups aimed at educating the community about mental health. This tragedy became a catalyst for change, inspiring dialogue where there was once silence. Victor's story became a cautionary tale, sparking discussions about the importance of mental health resources in schools and workplaces. The community rallied together to ensure no one else would fall through the cracks. Though the scars of the tragedy remained, the community began to heal. People started to open up about their struggles, realizing that sharing could be a crucial step towards recovery. As time passed, memorials for Emily became a place of reflection. Flowers and notes adorned her favorite spots, a testament to her impact on the lives she touched, and a reminder of the tragedy that occurred. Victor, now serving his sentence, faced the reality of his actions. Behind bars, he battled his demons while the world outside continued to grapple with the consequences of his obsession. Despite his imprisonment, Victor's story raised questions about the legal system's role in handling mental health cases. Advocates began to push for reforms to ensure better treatment and understanding. As community members honored Emily, they also sought to educate themselves on mental health resources available. Workshops and seminars were organized to help break down the stigma surrounding mental illness. The haunting tale of Victor Harrington and Emily served as a reminder of the fragility of human life and the consequences of unchecked obsession. It emphasized the necessity for vigilance and compassion in our communities. In a world where mental health issues often go unnoticed, the importance of dialogue and connection became clearer. Victor's actions prompted a collective awareness, challenging stigma and urging understanding. As the community moved forward, they carried Emily's memory with them, determined to foster an environment where mental health was prioritized. The journey of healing was just beginning, but they no longer faced it alone. Though the story of Victor and Emily may have reached a chapter's end, the conversation about mental health continues. It's a call to action for all of us to engage, support, and advocate for those in need, ensuring that no one suffers in silence. In the wake of Victor's tragedy, the local community grappled with shock and disbelief. Friends and neighbors struggled to comprehend how someone they knew could harbor such darkness. This collective confusion opened up conversations about mental health that were long overdue. Emily's family, devastated by her loss, became outspoken advocates for mental health resources. They organized workshops and support groups, sharing their story to help others understand the signs of obsessive behaviors and emotional distress. As Victor's case continued to make headlines, it also attracted the attention of mental health professionals. Experts analyzed his behavior, seeking to draw connections between his obsession and underlying psychological issues that often go unaddressed. Victor's childhood surfaced as a pivotal element in understanding his descent into obsession. Raised in an environment that neglected emotional expression, the seeds of his turmoil were planted long before his tragic actions. As the community held vigils for Emily, they began to openly discuss their own mental health struggles. This newfound openness bred a sense of unity and support, encouraging others to seek help without stigma or fear. Simultaneously, Victor faced the consequences of his actions behind bars. His mental state deteriorated as he confronted the reality of what he had done, leading to moments of reflection and regret that haunted him daily. Victims' advocates rallied for legislation to increase funding for mental health services, highlighting the urgent need for accessible care. They aimed to prevent future tragedies by addressing mental health issues before they escalate. Amidst the turmoil, a documentary team approached Emily's family for their insight. They wanted to create a film that not only told the story of Victor and Emily, but also served as a cautionary tale about the importance of mental health awareness. As the documentary progressed, it revealed the deeper layers of Victor's psyche, exploring how societal pressures and personal demons combined to create a perfect storm of obsession. Viewers began to empathize with the complexities of his struggle. In the community, small support groups sprang up, providing a safe space for individuals to share their stories without judgment. These gatherings proved that healing often begins in the company of others, fostering connections over shared experiences. As the documentary aired, it sparked national discussions about mental health, obsessive behaviors, and their repercussions. People from all walks of life began to reflect on their own relationships and the signs they might have overlooked. Victor, watching the documentary from prison, experienced a range of emotions. He felt guilt for the pain he caused, but also a strange sense of relief that his story was being shared, hoping it might help others avoid his mistakes. Emily's family received letters from viewers expressing gratitude for their courage to share their story. Many shared how it inspired them to seek help for their own struggles, demonstrating the profound impact of openly discussing mental health. As the community continued to heal, they initiated annual events in Emily's honor, aimed at raising awareness for mental health. These gatherings transformed grief into action, creating a legacy that Emily would have been proud of. In prison, Victor sought therapy, beginning to confront his past and the compulsions that led him down a dark path. The journey was challenging, but he was determined to understand himself better and seek redemption. Meanwhile, the community responses to the documentary prompted local schools to implement mental health programs. Educators recognized the importance of addressing these issues early, aiming to foster healthier future generations. Victor's therapy sessions revealed pivotal moments from his life that shaped his obsessive tendencies. He began to understand the connections between his upbringing and his later actions, slowly piecing together the puzzle of his psyche. As discussions about mental health and obsession deepened, experts warned about the dangers of ignoring early signs. They emphasized the importance of communication in relationships, as many tragic outcomes could be prevented with dialogue. Victor's journey continued to evolve as he formed connections with fellow inmates, sharing insights about their struggles. This unexpected camaraderie often led to discussions about their past choices and the lessons learned from them. Back in the community, the annual event in Emily's honor grew, drawing attention from nearby towns. It became a beacon of hope and healing, showing that even in grief, positive change was possible. As Victor continued his therapy, he began writing letters to Emily's family, expressing his remorse and sharing his reflections on what led to her tragic end. These letters became a way for him to process his feelings and seek forgiveness. Emily's family, initially unsure of how to respond, found themselves grappling with mixed emotions. They recognized that forgiveness could be a part of healing, but were cautious about how to approach this complex situation. As Emily's event gained traction, it featured speakers who shared their own stories of resilience and recovery. These testimonies highlighted the power of vulnerability and connection in overcoming struggles with mental health. Victor's therapists encouraged him to focus on his future, viewing his experiences as a learning opportunity. He began to set goals for personal development, aiming to transform his life beyond the walls of his confinement. The community responded positively to the awareness campaigns initiated by Emily's family. Local businesses began sponsoring mental health workshops, further integrating mental health discussions into the fabric of daily life. As Victor's time in therapy progressed, he reflected on his relationship with Emily. He realized the depth of his obsession and how it stemmed from a profound need for connection, highlighting the tragic irony of his actions. Emily's family began to respond to Victor's letters, opening a dialogue that they hoped could lead to healing for both sides. They understood that discussing these complex feelings was essential for their own closure. The annual event began to incorporate mental health professionals as speakers, providing valuable insights into the complexities of obsession and the importance of seeking help. This added depth to the community's understanding of the issue. Victor found solace in the idea that his story could serve as a warning to others. He hoped that by sharing his experiences, he could contribute to the ongoing conversation about mental health and prevention. As Emily's family continued to advocate for mental health resources, they established a scholarship fund in her name aimed at supporting individuals seeking mental health care. This initiative aimed to break down financial barriers to access. In prison, Victor began to develop friendships with other inmates who shared their own stories of struggle. These connections revealed that many had similar regrets and dreams of change, forming a unique bond among them. The community's annual event became a powerful symbol of transformation, where grief was transformed into action. Each year, the event grew larger, attracting even more support and understanding from surrounding areas. Victor continued to write letters detailing his progress in therapy and expressing his hopes for the future. Each letter reflected his desire to make amends, not only to Emily's family but to himself as well. Emily's family shared Victor's letters during the annual event, allowing attendees to understand his perspective. This act of vulnerability highlighted the complexity of forgiveness and the possibility of healing for all involved. As discussions around mental health gained momentum, local leaders began to prioritize funding for mental health initiatives. This shift marked a significant change in how the community approached mental health care. Victor's therapy progressed, and he learned about the cycles of behavior that had trapped him in obsession. Understanding these patterns became key to his rehabilitation as he sought to break free from his past. The community's efforts to promote mental health awareness reached local media, bringing further attention to the importance of emotional well-being. This exposure helped to spark systemic changes in mental health care accessibility. As Victor reflected on his life, he began to compile a journal that chronicled his experiences and learnings in therapy. This journal became both a tool for self-reflection and a potential guide for others who might face similar challenges. The community's annual mental health event evolved into a festival, celebrating stories of recovery and resilience. It became a vibrant gathering that emphasized hope, healing, and the importance of support networks. Victor's transformation sparked discussions about rehabilitation and the possibility of second chances. Many began to see him not just as a criminal, but as a person capable of change and redemption. As Emily's family continued their advocacy, they received support from various organizations aimed at mental health awareness. This coalition strengthened their efforts and expanded their reach within the community. Reflecting on his journey, Victor began to consider how he could contribute to conversations around mental health once he was released. He envisioned using his story as a powerful tool to educate others about the dangers of obsession and the need for empathy. The community's annual event culminated in a moment of silence for Emily, honoring her memory and the lives impacted by mental health struggles. This poignant tribute underscored the importance of remembrance and active engagement in mental health advocacy. As Victor prepared for the possibility of parole, he reflected on his past with a sense of responsibility. Understanding the weight of his actions motivated him to continue his personal growth and commitment to change. The story of Victor Harrington and Emily remains a haunting reminder of the complexities of human emotion. Their tale encourages us to engage in open dialogues about mental health, fostering communities where no one feels alone in their struggles. As Victor Harrington faced the consequences of his actions, the community grappled with the aftermath. The once quiet town was now filled with whispers of disbelief and sorrow. As the tragedy unfolded in the days following the incident, Emily's family, shattered by the loss, found solace in shared memories of her vibrant spirit. Friends and relatives gathered to remember her, affirming her impact on their lives and the void left by her absence. Victor's journey towards healing began within the prison walls. He was confronted daily with the reality of his choices, each moment serving as a harsh reminder of his obsession and the life he had taken. In therapy sessions, Victor began to unravel the tangled web of emotions that led to his destructive path. His therapist guided him through the depths of his obsession, urging him to understand the root causes of his behavior. Meanwhile, Emily's friends championed her legacy, establishing a foundation dedicated to mental health awareness. They aimed to prevent similar tragedies, fostering open conversations and support systems in the community. Victor's reflections led him to understand the fine line between love and obsession. He began writing letters to Emily's family, seeking forgiveness and hoping to express his remorse for the pain he caused. As the years passed, Victor became an advocate for mental health within the prison system. Sharing his story, he sought to enlighten others about the dangers of unchecked emotions and the need for support. Emily's foundation flourished, providing resources and support to those struggling with mental health issues. Their message resonated throughout the community, instigating a movement towards understanding and compassion. Tragically, Emily's story serves as a stark reminder of the consequences of obsession. It highlights the importance of addressing mental health issues openly and creating safe spaces for those in distress. In the end, the story of Victor Harrington and Emily embodies the complexities of love, loss, and redemption. Their lives intertwine in a tragic narrative that urges us all to foster understanding and compassion for those battling inner demons.